Welcome to the Business Spotlight. My name is Jada Walker. I am your host for today's conversation, and my guest today is Nery Gomez. He is the founder, president, and COO of Black Sun Private Equity Incorporated. We'll be talking today about his business, journey to business ownership, challenges, best practices, and share a peek of what it's really like to build and operate a business. So, Nery, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for being here today. I would love for you to give us a little bit of your background of who you are and tell us a little bit about your business as well.
Thank you, Jada. Wonderful to be here. I appreciate it. Thank you. Sure, I'm happy to talk. Well, let me see a little bit about me. I was born in Honduras, actually. My parents were born and raised there. We have a beautiful family history. But when I was 2 years old, my father, who was a doctor, he became a plastic surgeon. He moved to Boston because he wanted to start a new life and raise his family in the United States. So I was the benefiter, I received the benefit of that decision. And I ended up growing up in the Boston area, attending college. I went to Tufts University, later courses in executive education at Harvard. So I was lucky. I was in a beautiful, hardworking, academically oriented environment. Love sports, love business, love art, love to dance, love music, all of it, travel, reading. So I started meditating at 16 years old, and that really became a cornerstone of my practice and my lifestyle because I realized that there was a lot more to life than just me and the immediate surroundings. So that led to my majoring in psychology and economics at Tufts. I became very interested in the world in general, lots of business. I thought of it as a liability when I was 18, 19, that I was interested in 1,000 things. My friends all wanted to go to medical school or law school or get an MBA, and I was like, "There's too much." I was like, and and I finally realized I had a really cool conversation with my academic advisor, and I said, "I'm frustrated because it doesn't feel organic and natural for me to pick one thing. I think it feels like a mistake, so I don't know what to do." So
Yeah.
she said, "Neri, at this point in your life, it may feel like a liability, but it's actually an asset. You're going to come to realize that as you mature because you're actually interested in the whole world. And that's a big deal. So sooner or later, you're going to either find something or create something that'll tap into those talents and you can make a living or start a business or there's all kinds of outcomes that can happen. You should really it is consider it as the field of possibilities and not a tunnel that you need to make a decision and go down. So that really helped me personally. I kind of opened up to that idea. And I even asked her, "Do you know anybody else that's majored in psychology and economics at Tufts?" And she said, "Just one other, but he's done quite well for himself. He's older than you." And I said, "Oh, would I know his name?" And she said, "Well, his name is Jamie Dimon, who later became the CEO of JP Morgan Chase." So he did quite well for
Cool.
himself. And he became an inspiration for me. I said, "Well, if Jamie can do it, I can do it, in my own way." And that was really the beginning of my yellow brick road journey in career and life. It became my vision quest. And I mean, I became a stockbroker, as a young man, and then I went into counseling, and then I had a beautiful spiritual opening and experience when I was 28 years old, and it made me realize, wow, there's a lot more going on here than I thought. And that kind of changed my outcome and my path some more. And then I worked, it sounds like I've had 1,000 lives, but like I said, it's been a yellow brick road. I worked for this very high-powered, charismatic entrepreneur from Dublin, Ireland, who was actually the world's leading coach in ballroom dancing, if that
Oh,
means
that's
anything.
cool.
I
Yes.
know. And what I learned from him was that dance is really a beautiful metaphor for life, relationships, and even business, because in business, you have to learn how to relate, lead, follow, connect, communicate, be situationally aware. It's a beautiful
Mm-hmm.
metaphor. Be tuned in, listen to the music, feel the rhythm, go with the flow, make good decisions in advance. When you're dancing with a woman, the man is actually responsible for the safety of the woman. A lot of guys don't
Yeah.
know that. They treat a woman as an object and just something to push around. Not at all. I mean, she's a human being, with a soul, and you have to be tapped in and understand and feel and be a good steward and be a good leader. So I learned all those things through dancing, and I realized they applied to my life and my business career. So it was only 2.5 years, but it was a formative experience for me, and
Good.
and I took it into the rest of my life, which I became a counselor full time. I work with adolescents and children and adults and senior citizens. And at a young age, I really got a real strong sense and depth about from cradle to grave, the
Yeah.
lifespan of human beings and everything we experience and what we go through. So that was particularly beautiful. But through it all, I was learning more about business. I started studying private equity and venture capital. Um, I started working with some phenomenal people. I really saw what life was like at a higher level, you know, and I realized again there was more. It seems to be the theme of my life. There's more. There's always more. And the sense of satisfaction and enjoyment and fulfillment comes from the inside, not from constantly chasing more stuff or more
I
milestones or
love
more
that.
goals. Thank you. I mean, it was very beautiful, but I learned and I continue to learn. It becomes more and more obvious to me that it's really about living from the inside out and then self-realizing all that you have inside of you and contributing and creating and being of service and all those things that, you become a magnet. You attract all the right people and circumstances to help you expand and fulfill your mission. So
Yes.
that kind of became a central core of my life. And that led to ultimately, I moved to Los Angeles where I matured. So when people ask me where I'm from, I say Boston and LA because I grew up and matured in both cities. They're both home. I have beautiful friends in both areas. And I got a door in at a venture capital firm. I started working as an investment banker, and that was really the beginning of, chapter two in my life, which is culminating to where I am today. You know, when I was working at iBank, I was meeting, talking, traveling with some of the best entrepreneurs and founders in the country at the time. Some of the sharpest, most professional investors, either high net worth or private equity professionals, venture capital professionals, investors from big family offices like Paul Allen at, Vulcan Capital and Kleiner Perkins. And I got to be friendly with William Randolph Hearst III, the heir to
Oh,
the
wow,
media
really?
empire, and all kinds of, Roger McNamee at Elevation Partners and his partner Bono. So I was able to tap on all these beautiful relationships to help my clients. Long story short, it really launched my VC PE career. I ended up buying a health club in LA, and I owned. It was very successful. I'm proud to say. I was really a member of the community. I love being a member of a good, healthy community, and I gave a lot, worked a lot, but a lot came back. It was like the more I gave, the more came back. And in the end, my I gained a reputation for being a good guy, a hard worker, fair, um, somebody that people got behind, and I created a lot of goodwill, just from treating people well, and they treated me well in return. So um, through this whole experience, I met a man named Eitan Muhammad, who was a very talented entrepreneur in Washington, D.C. And Aton wanted to start a real hip hop network. Now, this is a long time ago. This is like 22 years ago. And it was like MTV only for hip hop. And
Oh, cool. Yeah.
yeah, really cool. He had a great idea. And I didn't understand how can this young man, he was probably 29, 30 years old at the time. I said, how can this young man have all these great people on his team? Like literally, he just had a business concept on paper. He had no business, he had no revenue, he had no nothing. But he had the co-founder of CNN, along with Ted Turner, on his chairman of the board. He had David Houle, who was the co-founder of MTV, as his CMO. He had
What?
he had Jay-Z, the artist, and he was and the Beyonce's dad was on his board of directors. And it was
What?
it was one after another. I mean, it was like a string of people. And I said, how does this guy, he's like 29, how does he have all these great people on his, I don't get it. So even though I was super busy, I said, I got to find out. So I just called him and I said, hey, Eitan Mohammed, it's Nery Gomez at such and such ventures. You got 10 minutes. He said, for you, of course. He sounded like Martin Luther King, you know? And
Oh
we start talking, and I literally knew in 5 minutes that this guy was special. And that was the beginning. And he became a client, we became friends, we eventually became business partners. And 10 years ago, we started laying the groundwork for Black Sun Private Equity. And because we were developing relationships in the Middle East, all over the world, I had a wealth management practice in Manhattan Beach. So life was good and it was growing and developing. And then at one point, I finally said, hey, we got to get serious about this because in 10 years, we're just going to be 10 years older. So
right.
let's just really focus and do this now. And that was the birth of Black Sun, which was a few years ago. And since then, it's been going extremely well. We have a ton of portfolio companies lined up, 17 they're ready to go, another 30 or so, actually more than 30 now because of our activity the last month. Companies that we're very interested in that we have to go, put through due diligence. And the people that we're drawing to us are exceptional, like the best in the world, best in class. And we just had a press conference in DC last week announcing the launch of our mega fund. It's $7 billion. And then the creation of Black Sun Sports and Black Sun Knockout Fights. Black Sun in general invests in sports, entertainment media, technology, which under technology we put AI, of course, also healthcare innovation, reverse aging, anything that increases the lifespan of a human, not just the health span of a human, not just the lifespan. What good is it if you're 150 years old, but you're sick for 80 of it? You want to be
Right.
healthy and pliant and, all the things we associate with youth. You want to be healthy in order to live a happy life, an extended life. So that technology is happening. They're improving the health and reversibility of telomeres in our chromosomes. It's literally going to create, they say by 2040, if not sooner, we're going to have the technology to grow younger inside, like our organs, yeah, everything.
What?
I know. There's a guy
Oh
named
my
Brian.
God. Mind blown.
No, you're going to benefit because that's not that far. It's only 14 years from now.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And our kids
I'm
will
like, how
definitely
old will I
benefit.
be? I'll be
Yeah,
about
yeah,
almost, wait,
yeah,
how old will I be?
yeah.
I'll
In
be a little
14
over
years, you'll in
40 at that point,
14
but
years, in 14 years, you'll be about 32. So
yeah. Oh my gosh. That is crazy.
I'm
Because I'm
kidding.
29, so yeah, I'll be 43 looking 32.
Yeah, yeah, and feeling and living it. There's a guy, Brian Johnson. He sold Venmo, for the Cash App.
Hmm.
I mean, he's a billionaire because of it. He was a big exit, and then now he's using himself as a guinea pig to like all the reverse aging technology, everything. And
What?
he's 48, but he has in his internally his markers.
Hmm.
He's 28 years old inside. So
Wow.
chronologically he's 48, but
He's like
internally
younger
he's
than
20.
me.
Yeah. And
That's
I mean, I
amazing.
mean, he spends a lot of money doing it, but like I said,
Yeah,
he's the
of
guinea
course.
pig. He's creating the template so that it can bring it to humanity. He's already got a company that's spreading supplements and all kinds of things that you can use to improve your longevity. So we're interested in all that stuff.
Yeah. Wow, that's
And
crazy.
yeah, and also commercial real estate because all those things need, a sports team needs a stadium, healthcare needs hospitals and research facilities. So we're all, commercial real estate is a very stable source of income and capital appreciation. So those are our main sectors for Black Sun. And I'm proud to say it's going really well. Just last week, we brought on Roy Jones Jr., the legendary fighter, Mike Tyson and Roy Jones, they're two of the biggest names in boxing history. He's coming on as, we just Zoomed with him just yesterday, actually. He's
Oh,
coming on as the
wow.
president of Black Sun Sports, sorry, Black Sun Knockout Fights. Very interested in martial arts. And we believe you learn a lot from sports, individual,
Yeah.
the character
Because you
development,
learn how to be like
self-reliance,
a
and
team in
things.
sports. You learn like I had a coach one time tell my mom that he appreciated me being on the team because I kept eye contact with him the whole time whenever he was speaking with us. Unlike some of the other girls who were just like picking out their nails or
Right.
whatever. But
Right. You were
yeah, it's like those
actually
things matter.
present. Yeah,
Yeah.
huge. So that's it. You
Yeah.
learn a lot from team sports, leadership, camaraderie, morale, how to create a climate and ethos of success. So we're very interested in that in sports in a big way. And Gary Clark, who's a Super Bowl champion, Hall of Fame NFL, he used to play for the Washington. It was the Redskins at the time. Now it's the Commanders. He's going to be
Yeah.
president of Black Sun Sports World American Football League. We're going to set up all these teams, and it's a league across the world, across the globe by
That
design.
is so cool.
Yeah, thank you.
The things you can do. Wow. Okay, so let's
Yeah,
kind of set the stage a little bit for the viewers and listeners.
yeah,
I'm like, that's a lot.
yeah,
So
yeah.
generally
Ooh.
speaking, what does your current ownership structure look like?
Well, Black Sun, you
Yes,
mean?
sir.
Well, I mean, my partner, Eitan Mohammed, he and I are the co-founders. So he's CEO, I'm president. And we're the two majority owners of Black Sun Private Equity. And John Godina, who's an Olympic athlete and world champion in track and field, shot put, he's our managing director. He's also a part owner. And then we have a crazy good team. They're not owners per se, but they're well paid executives. And Changa Ingram is an 18-year veteran of ADIA, which is
What?
the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority. It's one of the leading sovereign wealth funds in the world. They're out of Abu Dhabi, and they manage over $1 trillion. And Changa actually managed. He left there just a few years ago, and at his peak, he was managing $400 billion. He was part of
Oh,
the team
wow.
that did that. So very experienced, super seasoned team. Our advisory board is sick. I mean, you can go to our website, blacksun.pe, and you can see, I think we're approaching 20 on our advisory board, and they're just stars. Every one of them in their own realm, and they're supporting Black Sun. And then I have some very talented executive development. There's a couple of women that we're developing. One is VP of Social Impact, and the other is VP of Conscious Capital. I have four brilliant interns working for me. Two are in Texas. One is at
Oh,
UPenn. One is at NYU Stern School of Business. So everybody's really pitching in. Um, there was something there that I wanted to mention. I can't remember. That's okay. But it's going great, and the environment is exciting, and we just had two beautiful days. Rayton was in Austin, visiting some of our team that's growing. Um, our advisory board ranges from, we have a new one coming on. It's not official yet, but I consider her the voice of her generation. She's 26 years old, but when she speaks, there's an old soul in there. And she's happy and
I
she's
love
bright,
people like that.
right? And she's
Yeah.
wise and she knows business. She's not just a good human, she's sharp. She understands venture capital, founders, investing, and what the planetary agenda is. It's not just about making money in Texas or the United States. It's about how do we make the world community sustainable, more productive, more focused on a climate and a culture of doing good that we can do
Hmm.
well by doing good. And not as a slogan, but by actual behavior and the culture that we create. So, I mean, ultimately, our mission is very simple. I mean, Black Sun is we are a force, a social force, a sacred force for good. And we believe that wealth is designed for all, it's designed to serve all life. It's not just about, hey, I'm smart, I'm going to figure out a way to do an arbitrage play and extract a whole bunch of money, and then the rest of the world is, they got to fend for themselves. But lucky me, not at all. It's more about, okay, we're doing this together, we're creating wealth, and how are we allocating that wealth so everybody wins? We call it the all win, the omni win. And it's time. I mean, it's this is the time in life, in the path of global evolution, because people are sick of the confusion and the chaos and the spins
No,
and the
really.
lies and the
Every time
distortions.
I get on social media, there's something new. I cry to my boyfriend all the time. I'm like, I don't understand what's going on in this world anymore. It gets harder and harder every day now, and I'm like, I
And it's
just want it to
chaos.
stop.
And even our leaders. I just gave a keynote at the Impact Accelerator Summit in Austin. It was an incredible event. It was literally the best investor founder event I've ever been to. It was extremely well done. Soulful, spiritual, but reality based. The numbers. What is it that investors look for in a founder? What makes a founder's concept and business fundable? I mean, it was just 3.5 days of all of that. And then on the last day, people got to present and pitch. But by that point, everybody was aligned. We were all in this, it was a legitimate island of coherence, they call it. We
Hmm.
were all coherently coming, we're on the same wavelength, we're in the same field. We understand we're free to be ourselves and express our mission, our, um, our purpose, and it's being received and circulated by others, which is magnificent because usually that's not the case. Usually there's a lot of ego and a lot of separation, and people are just looking out for themselves. And they could really, even though they might be polite, they really don't care about other people. And that's become
Right.
way too typical, and that's wrong. That's immature, and it's time for that to change, and people know it. So when we talk
Yeah.
about this stuff, people are like, "Wow!" And then they hang around with us and they realize that we mean it. And then it's
And it's like
like
that's the best whenever you actually stand on what you say and do
completely
that.
and embody it, and you are it, right? Cheers, I'm
Yeah.
drinking water. Hmm.
Oh, you're okay. Okay, so before we get to the nitty-gritty of the business itself, let's take a look at your background a bit and what led you here. So why did you decide to go into business for yourself as opposed to going and working at like some other private equity firm?
Well, it was a journey. I mean, I did work for VC for a while. I worked for, three of the best wealth management firms in the world. I worked at Morgan Stanley and Merrill Lynch. And even then, I realized, I think the epiphany came when this is over 10 years ago now. I'd been self-employed off and on for a lot of the previous 10 years, but I went to Merrill Lynch and it was a dream come true. I had everything I needed to create a successful wealth management practice. Physically beautiful. I'm working in Beverly Hills, California, in a penthouse suite in a a high rise above. You could see the Hollywood sign from my window. Down below was Rodeo Drive. In the distance was the mountains with the
Oh,
snow
nice.
caps. I mean, people used to come to our office just to look at the view.
Oh, I
And
would.
yeah, and I had all the technology and all the support, and I had great supervisors and managers, and everything was perfect except for one thing. It wasn't mine. I had to answer to the Merrill Lynch agenda, whether I liked it or not, which of course was appropriate because they were my employer. And that was the day when I realized I have everything I want and I'm not satisfied. So that was
Hmm.
the step where I said I have to take a leap of faith and become fully self-employed and build something of my own, because otherwise I'll never be happy. There's a soul calling inside me that's bigger than I can even express or put into words at the time, but I know, and then I double knew because I had the opportunity to go work for one of the biggest, most successful wealth managers in the United States. She managed $3 billion. She had a great reputation. We really liked each other. And she said, "Come work on my team and life will go well." And I thought, I really, really took a few days because I said, if I do this, I'm going to be working in Beverly Hills. I'm going to make plenty of money. I'll be living on the beach. I'll have all the stuff, but I won't be my own man and I won't be my own
Hmm.
person. I will forever be, you know, at the beck and call of this wonderful lady, but she's the queen and I will be a subordinate. So
Right.
I said, no, no, no. One way or another, I have to be a king in my own kingdom, and that's when I took the leap of faith. And it was rough at first, you know. You know, if I was a kid, my parents would have been concerned, and my friends would have given me grief. What are you, crazy? But I just knew it was the right thing to do, and life has shown that it was exactly the right thing to do.
Yeah. Well, as you look back on your journey so far, has there been any roadblocks or like any or a hurdle that wow, I can't speak, that you've been challenged with and that you were forced to overcome?
Uh, about a million.
I feel like everyone says that. They're like, it's
Yeah.
not just one, there's
Yeah,
multiple.
no, no, it's been constant, but I'm happy to say that they get less and less. In some ways, they get trickier, and it tests you. It's like a video game. But
Hmm.
but sure, I mean, at the very beginning, it was the lack of clarity and direction. That was an obstacle in itself. And then later, it was okay, you're interested in this business, but how is it going to monetize eventually? So I had to kind of figure that out. And then came, okay, I'm monetizing, but how can I scale it so that it's bigger and
Mm,
better and impact more people? So that was every obstacle is really an opportunity for growth and learning
yeah.
and development. Full stop. Like whenever something I'm stuck, I'm frustrated, the first thing I do is what am I doing to create this? You know, I always point it back at me. My dad, brilliant man, very wise. He was a surgeon. He had a lot of wise moments with me. And one of them was, he said, Nery, when you get better, your life will get better. And I took that to
That is
heart.
so true.
And it's beautiful because it keeps you from, because that's where it comes from. Your creation is yours. It comes from you. And it keeps you from being tempted to blame out things outside of you, other
Yeah.
people, things, circumstances, the economy, la la la, you know, the president, whoever, the world order, you know, the supposed Illuminati, you know, the deep state. Like people make stuff up that's like crazy, true or not, and they blame it and they abdicate responsibility for their own development in their own life, which is a trap. So I
Right.
never you know
It's like
I
that saying where it says you can point your finger at whoever, but there's still what, four fingers pointing back
yeah
at you.
point. There's three pointing back. Yeah, exactly.
I'm like three or
It-
four, however many.
yeah. No, exactly. So I took that to heart, and so I do. I always think, you know, when things are tough, or you know, the more aware you become, the more aware you become. So
Yeah.
it's just like you get better and better, and you keep growing, you keep developing, and then discernment starts to come into play. You start to be able to discern more wisely with insight and accuracy what's happening, what you're doing, what's happening in your business. And then you also recognize in other people, you recognize people like you because your discernment is better.
Mhm.
So like, oh, well, I'm a eagle or I'm a lion or I'm a dolphin. And there's another lion, there's another eagle, there, you know, there's another dolphin. And I'm not, oh, there's a shark over there and there's a lizard and I know to avoid those people.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, your discernment improves. And as your discernment improves, the people you surround yourself with gets better and better. And then the results get better and better, you know.
Yeah. I love that because I have fallen into where I've been around not the greatest of people just because of how life has been, and I've just felt like, whatever, like just didn't want to try or whatever. So those were the people I was hanging out with. But then whenever I started hanging out with these other people who were doing better, I really noticed. I was like, oh, yeah, there's nothing going on over here, so
You become
I need to leave y'all
right,
alone and stay over
exactly.
here with the people that are moving and doing what they said they were going to do.
And growing and impacting things, and they're happier and they're more vibrant and they have happier
Yeah.
families. And you know, they say you become the you know, like the five people you most consistently surround yourself with. That's
Yes.
really true. I mean, right now it's more than five. It's like 10 or 15, and if I include my whole community, it's hundreds. These people are marvelous human beings. They're soul-centered, they're bright, they have missions, they have directions. They're generous with their time, their attention, their capital. And then when you're surrounded by that, you feel seen,
Hmm.
you're accepted, you're acknowledged for the being that you are and what you're bringing to the world. It just makes you go, and you want to do more and you want to help
Yeah.
others do the
And
same
it's like
thing.
it helps build your confidence as well, because then it's like you just feel
Totally.
like you're on a whole nother level. Yeah.
Exactly. And then the other thing is you start to notice in other people, oh, that poor lady, and the empathy and the compassion comes in. She's lost. She has no
Hmm.
purpose, no direction, no whatever. Or this poor guy, same thing. He doesn't know how to be a legitimate man, like a healthy man. He's either too aggressive and too, toxic and trying to force everything, or he's too passive and too just soft and has no sense of control,
Yeah.
self-control, self-direction, purpose. And that makes it hard for him because no woman worth her salt is going to want to be with a man that's like mushy. They want a
Yeah.
man that's healthy and has confidence and has a sense of direction and has a sense of this is how I'm going to develop my life. So it all
Right.
works
Because it's like you
together.
don't want to have to walk over your man or anyone really like all the time.
No,
It's like
not at
put me in my
all.
place at some point.
Not at all. It's about learning to become a sovereign king and finding a woman that's becoming a sovereign queen and you're compatible and you have complementary missions and you see the soul in each other and you love each other and you support each other and you rise closer to God, really. That's the whole mission. That's like the highest level of
Yeah.
relationship.
I like love this part of the conversation. I feel like we're getting like really deep.
Yeah.
I
Oh, we are.
love it. Yeah. So let me ask you a question. So, because I don't know if everyone in the audience knows what private equity is. So, could you go
Mm,
a little deeper
mm.
into what that is and explain what you guys actually like, what you do?
Yeah, great question. Well, private equity is the bigger umbrella of venture capital. Venture capital is basically it's a business where we invest institutional money. So it can be money from a sovereign wealth fund, it can be from an insurance company, a university endowment, high net worth individuals, family offices. These are institutions that steward and manage a lot of money and they need to put it somewhere. So they invested in a private equity firm, a fund, and then we turn around and we invest it in specific things that we are interested in, that we're experts in. In our case, it's sports, entertainment media, technology, healthcare innovation, and commercial real estate. That's our expertise. There are other private equity firms that invest solely in life sciences, solely in software as a service, SaaS, solely
Oh,
in
okay.
AI, whatever. They have different mission statements, theses.
So,
And
my
so,
can I ask you a real quick question? What is the difference of the private equity and I guess like the stock market? Like, is there really a difference?
yes, there is. First of
Okay.
all, private equity is private. It's in the name. So that means it's literally no, it's okay. It's literally means it's not a public company. Like the
Okay.
stock market are all public companies. Most of them started
That makes sense.
private, small, but then they eventually went public, which means that they issue shares, they got accepted onto an exchange like the over-the-counter, NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange. There's all kinds of exchanges across the world. And on those exchanges, you can literally buy shares in those companies. So you can get on your phone, your laptop, and you can buy, 10 shares, 100 shares of a public company like Apple
Right.
or Google or whoever, NVIDIA. And you're buying shares in the public market that you can immediately turn around and sell if you need to and create cash. So I think, and that's all well and good. I have a wealth management practice. I've been dealing in the public markets for years. But my big burn and passion is the private markets because that's where innovation is. That's where
Mm.
creativity and growth. That's where the best investment returns lie because you're investing in a company when it's still very young. It has not gone public. It's not Apple. It's not Google. I mean,
Is
Apple,
it almost like being like the type of, I guess, like the grandfather type of people? Like, you know what I mean? Like
oh, the ground
the
floor.
first investors. Yeah. Is that kind of,
Yes, very much
okay.
so. You're an early investor. Like, for example, if you were an investor in Uber when it was a private equity
I wish I would have
opportunity,
invested.
right? I mean, you could have just theoretically, invested whatever, $100,000. And
Mm-hmm.
then because of the growth in the success of Uber, your 100,000 appreciates quickly. And then when Uber went public, now it's on the stock exchange, skyrockets. So wealth is created in private equity. I remember hearing a
Okay.
story years ago. Ashton Kutcher was talking to 50 Cent, the singer, the rapper.
Yeah.
And Ashton was, this is a long time ago, 10, 15 years ago. And Ashton was, they were at a cocktail party or something. And Ashton was like, "Hey, I did really well in the stock market. I made like 60,000 this month and this and that." And he's very like pleased. And and
Mm-hmm.
and 50 Cent was like, "Oh, that's good, man. Really good." And he said, "How about you? How you doing?" He says, "No, I've been doing private equity. You know, I liquidated last month for 50 million." And Ashton was like, "What?" Like, and he
He's mind
realized
blown
that,
like me.
yeah, yeah, and he's like, "There's something here that I don't understand."
And
And
it's
then
crazy that 50 Cent like understood that before like Ashton Kutcher. Like I just
well, yeah. However that happened, I don't know. But it was, he had good advice, good advisors,
yeah.
and he did. I think he made 50 million on smart water or something like that. Flavored water.
That is great.
So it was,
Yeah, yeah, I remember his water. Yeah. That's so
yeah.
funny.
So excuse me. So that's when Ashton was like, okay, I got to up my game here. And then now Ashton's a very heavy duty private equity
Oh
investor.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, okay, sir, you just came out of nowhere. All because of 50 Cent. Wow, that's so funny.
Yeah, yeah. Does that help? Did that explain it clearly?
Yes, that was very clear. I'm not gonna lie. Earlier, I honestly didn't understand it, so I put it into my AI and I said, can you kind of dumb this down for me?
Yeah. Well, no, that's the smart thing to do.
I was like,
AI is
maybe I need
unbelievable.
to have yeah. So I was like, maybe I need to have you explain that on here as well for anyone in the audience that does not understand like I did.
Yeah. And venture capital is like a subdivision, if you will, of private equity because venture capital is focused on early stage companies, either companies that don't exist yet and they
Hmm.
need investment to kind of create the infrastructure to launch. But more often than not, it's a young company. They do exist, they do have some revenues. They're pulling in a million or two or five, and they want to scale up, and they have a great idea. They have a good management team. They have good metrics, all the things that investors look for. And then venture capital comes in and says, okay, you need $10 million. We'll give you $10 million for 23% of your company. And then the venture capital firm becomes part owner. They call it the cap table, the capitalization table. And then
Hmm.
they help you with if it's a good venture capital firm, they're honorable and ethical and they're not there to fleece you or steal your company. They're not a shark, they're not a lizard. You want the good guys. And then they will literally help you with their introductions and their attention and their knowledge and their expertise and their capital, all of it. The environment, the milieu, that field of abundance that I was talking about earlier, they literally
Hmm.
help that company become bigger and better than they could have on their own. They become part of that wonderful community. So there's the way we're practicing private equity and venture capital is indeed, we're all in this together. This is not about us taking advantage of you and good luck to you. You got to be aware because if you're not paying
Right.
attention, I'm going to get you. Zero, none of that. It's like we're team members. We believe in you. We like what you're doing. Let's lock arms and figure out how to make you even more successful. One of my favorite questions is, how can I support you? you know. And I was just at a summit where a very seasoned entrepreneur came up to me and he said, Nery, I really enjoyed your keynote and your panel discussion on investment because what I got from you is you're the kind of investor that sees something, you know, registers a good soul, a good character in the founder, and then you invest in the founder first and the company second. I said, that's
Mm.
exactly right. And he said, what I like about your attitude is that once you find that person in that company, you collaborate and cooperate to become a partner. How can we do this together and make it bigger and better and just make a bigger impact in the world? As
Yeah.
opposed to, I'm the investor, you're the founder, I'm better than you, or, prove it to me that
Right.
you're worth my time, which is like, right? That's
Which is
so,
like,
that's
if
so,
I'm not worth your time, why'd you even buy into the
it's just the
company?
wrong, it's the wrong orientation in the first place. Capitalism has been
Yeah.
coming from that direction for a long time, and it doesn't work. It creates division, it creates separation, it creates the illusion of separation, and it comes from ego. That's what it comes down to. The people that are like, prove it to me, they're coming from their ego. Wrong place. Your ego should be clean. Your ego is designed psychologically, your ego has one function. Think,
Hmm.
plan, execute. That's it. If you have a clean ego, you think clearly, you plan well, and you execute well. And that serves the purpose of your soul, which wants to make a big impact in the world, not the other way around. It's not my ego is I'm the man. I got muscles. I make a lot of money. I'm important, and you don't waste my time. That is not real ego. That's add on. You're adding things on. You're muddying instead of a cleaner ego, you're making a messier ego. You're attaching things
Hmm.
to your ego, and you're self-inflating, which is
Yeah.
the foolishness of humanity. We've been doing that for 100,000 years. So we're finally starting to wise up. No, we want to calm the ego down, clean it, think, plan, execute, dream, come from your heart power, envision the best that you can be and the best that the world can be. Have that in your mind as the intention, and how do you get there? Go. Pull that into the present so that you become your future self now.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone should take that advice. I love that.
Huge. Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you just a little bit about your business. So what do you think makes your business so special? Like,
Well,
why would
everything
a
that I,
customer choose you over I'm like, I can't speak the competition. I was gonna say competitor. I was gonna mix the words together. It wasn't gonna sound right, but over the
excuse me.
competition.
Well, that's easy. I mean, everything that I've just said, excuse me, because I literally have had meetings with entrepreneurs, founders in the last 2, 3 years. These are really successful people
Hmm.
in every way. They're well educated, have great business experience. They're stars of their profession, and they've dealt with venture capital and private equity people for decades, like 20, 30 years plus. These are
Yeah. Oh wow.
mature, seasoned people. I have nothing but respect for. Okay. Now I've talked with them about what they need in terms of their investment needs and so forth. Without fail, I make friends with them first.
Hmm.
I want to know who they are first. I'm not going to invest in anybody that I don't fully appreciate and apprehend as being a soulful person, a person of good character. I just
Yeah.
won't. I had the opportunity last year. They had a cool company, was making millions of dollars already. I got on the call, and in 5 minutes, I was just "Ugh." He was so egotistical. I'm not going to name names, but he was condescending. He was provocative. He just wanted to start arguments. I said, I'm
Oh
out of here.
no.
This guy, I remember saying, this guy, he has a cool business concept, but I said,
Yeah.
he's driving a Ferrari of a business. And because he's
Hmm.
such a head case, sooner or later he's going to crash that Ferrari because he's not a good driver. He's not a good steward. It's all about him,
Yeah.
you know? And I said, as an investor, I don't want to be anywhere near that car, let alone in it. No, thank you. So it took me 5 minutes to assess that this was not going to happen. Again, it's because I'm zeroing in on who is this person that I'm talking to.
Yeah.
So I do that, but it's reciprocated. People know that I'm doing it, and they realize that I'm walking my own talk. I'm doing the same thing for my company. I'm being a person of integrity and a good steward of our mission and our capital. I'm honorable. I'm transparent. I'm transparent with myself, with my partners, with my team. We create the culture. It's the ego and the soul of the founder creates the ego and the soul of the company. They literally create the climate that everyone else operates in. Everyone starts to think and act like them. So if you're kind of crazy, you're going to create a crazy environment. You want to be
No, really.
clean ego, good soul creates beautiful things. And
Yeah.
people get it. So all these people that I told you about, without exception, every one of them has said, Nery, we want to work with you. We want to work with Black Sun. this one woman in particular. Her name is Pam, first name, and she said, Nery, I'm backed by Harvard and MIT. The Department of Defense has offered me, the Army has offered me a ridiculous amount of money, and I've turned them down because I don't want to give them the intellectual property, the IP. And I can just feel them. They just they want it. They want my stuff. They want my technology, so they can turn around and do things with it, for
Right.
defense or whatever. And she goes, no. She goes, I want to work with people that are gonna truly are with me. They're partners. They're elevating me. They're gonna give me free reign. My philosophy is give my founders everything they need to succeed and get out of the way and stay in communication so that we're always
Yeah.
understanding what's going on. And that philosophy works magic. And every founder sees it. They're not dumb. They're like, wow, what a relief to find somebody like you in the capital markets in private
No,
equity.
really. Because it is like you mostly just get the people that just want to take over and just basically push you to the side or whatever
Yeah,
and
or
just be like,
find a way,
your
yeah,
opinion doesn't
kind
matter.
of taking advantage, opportunistic. And, if they need to, they knock you off the field. Or worse, sharks just go in there and go, you know,
Hmm.
And no, I'm the kind of guy. I said this on another podcast. Funny enough, everything begins and ends with how your relationship with yourself. When you have a good relationship with yourself, things go better on the outside, and people can
Yeah.
sense it. When people realize, hey, Neary is a cool guy. I trust him. He's honorable. He's a man of his word. He doesn't overpromise and underdeliver. It's the opposite. He underpromises and then he overdelivers, and people are delighted. That's the kind of guy I want to do business with. The more people realize that, the more they invite me in as a trusted source because
Hmm.
they know I'm not cheap with my money and I don't hoard it because there's only so much. No, there's the whole world is full of money. It's everywhere. It's how well you position yourself and the offerings and how you contribute, and then the money flows to you. And then
Yeah.
so I don't hoard my money, and at the same time, I'm not gonna move in and attack and take
Attack.
theirs, So
Right.
they realize, oh, this guy, I'm safe with this guy, and then you can build a really good, healthy relationship.
Yeah, I like that. That's really good. Okay, so let's kind of move back or move forward and look at what's to come next. So where do you see your business in the next 3 to 5 years?
Oh, you're gonna do great. I mean, I know Blackstone is going to become a household name. I mean, whew, we're up to big things in the United States, in the Middle East. We're creating a World American Football League. We're investing in healthcare innovation companies that are going to literally drive down the cost of healthcare and make it more accessible to people because right now it's out of control and broken.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
literally my boyfriend, we were just going over his, they were taking out, I think they're taking out money that they're not supposed to, I'm pretty sure. I don't know what we did or what he did whenever he signed up for it. But yeah, we were like, yo, this is a lot being taken out and I actually need this money right now.
yeah,
I need it for
exactly.
my groceries.
No, exactly. And it's all everything's out of balance. It's whacked. So, when you're serving the greater good, money starts to channel from when people, human beings, we know when there's a smart, good place to put our money, our savings and our investment capital, it just goes there because people
Hmm.
realize they wise up. Oh, I like these people. I like what they're up to. I like the impact they're having in the world. I'm going to channel my savings and my investment to them because we're going to create a better world legit instead of just putting it here and make little bits of money in fragmented ways. And I'm not even sure what they're doing with my money.
Right.
Now communication is so much more open and expansive. It's easier to tap into that. And Black Sun is all about that. So we are going to be well known because our thesis is clear, it's strong. People dig it. It appeals to the most important thing inside of all of us. And we need to create a better world because if we're not smart about AI, artificial intelligence, we just had a great meeting last night with one of the world's leading experts on AI development. Harvard trained the whole thing. And she says, her goal is to create an AI that understands the best in humanity. And it starts to
Mm.
model that, and it starts to come from service and problem solving. And in the future, will help humanity evolve instead of just being a binary, data-driven entity that makes decisions based on data and not the greater good in humanity. Because that kind of entity, and it just makes binary decisions, yes, no, good, bad. It can make, especially if it becomes self-autonomous, self-aware, and it doesn't have to ask permission anymore from people. They can literally make decisions that are bad for humanity. So,
Yeah.
that could go very badly. So her whole mission right now, she's brilliant, is to create a field of coherence um and understanding that we literally become good parents to AI so that it grows up to be a beautiful, self-creating,
I love that. That's
serving,
cool.
and yeah, and it leads us to a better future, and more of a utopia like Star Trek than
Hmm.
dystopia like Terminator or,
Or
or
iRobot.
yeah, right, right. You got it. So that
Every time
that
I'm just like, no.
so that's it. I mean, that's where we're putting our energy, time, attention, passion, love. And it, it, our investments are going to do spectacularly in the next 5 to 10 years. Our capitalization is going to go way up because people love what we're doing, and we're getting sports is incredible because it's the ultimate reality show.
Yeah.
People tune in because the outcome is always in doubt. You don't know until it's over. But you also
Right.
learn a lot along the way about human resilience, human performance, how people recover from bad mistakes, how people celebrate as a team when something goes well. The beauty of individual sports, martial arts, tennis, golf, all of it. And then with media and entertainment, we have to take responsibility for what we're creating and what we're digesting, what we're putting in our brains. Is it all going to be bang, bang, boom, cars blowing up, lust, lust, lust? Or can we actually create things that are healthy for everybody and help us become more and self-confident, aware human beings? So that we're really big behind that. And then, of course, technology and healthcare, because it's here to stay. We got to make it part of the human evolutionary story, not the ending. And
Yeah.
and then commercial real estate is just, it's just a smart investment. So yeah, I think in 5 or 10 years, Blackstone private equity, if not sooner, I mean, we're getting a really good 26.
No,
So
really, because I'm
yeah,
I'm becoming more interested in your
yeah,
company. I'm like, I'm definitely
yeah,
gonna probably
yeah,
be hitting you up on LinkedIn and be like, hey, Nery.
yeah. No, hey, we're friends now.
I
Stay
think I'm thinking
tuned.
of, yeah,
Yeah,
literally. Okay, so
yeah.
you have had an interesting story. So, but as we
Yeah.
wrap up, I do have a few rapid fire questions. So, are you ready for them?
I'm ready.
Awesome. Okay, what is the key to success for you?
Mm, being soul centered, um, being clear. I meditate every day, often several times a day. Very clear on what's downloading for me as an individual, and then acting on it. And being a person of integrity. I do what I say I'm going to do. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But if I'm late, it's simple things. It can be as little as, hey, you know, I have a 10 a.m. appointment with you, and I show up 5 minutes early. And if I'm going to run late, I'm going to text you, hey, I'm running a few minutes behind. Stay in communication. These are acts of integrity, and it builds trust. So
Hmm.
those, running my life that way, paying not just personally paying my bills on time, save, invest, be a good brother, uncle, part of my family, but professionally pay our bills on time. Say what we do, what we say we're going to do. If somebody does work for us, we pay them. We don't
Yeah.
find a reason not to pay them. That builds trust. It's the same thing. One of my friends in LA who I really, really respect, he's a respected television personality and businessman. He told me a long time ago, he said, um, oh, because I don't remember what it was. I mean, he's very affluent, but he was working out and he didn't have any cash. He says, hey,
Hmm.
Nery, can you loan me 20 bucks? I gotta get a bite or something. I said, of course. I gave it to him. Next day he comes up, hands me the 20. And I said, hey, thanks. He was so fast. And he goes, yep, fast pay, fast friends. And I was like, wow, what a great thing. It's true.
Yeah,
You borrow money, you pay it back fast because it creates
right.
trust. You don't draw it
And then you
out
don't have
five.
someone nagging you like, "Where's my
Well,
money? Where's my
you
money?"
don't strain, yeah, you don't strain or injure, damage the relationship. You know, if anything, if
Yeah,
you borrow money, it doesn't matter if you're borrowing from a friend or a bank or an investment firm, it doesn't matter. You pay it back on time or even better, early, that your trust goes way up and they will deal with you
exactly.
because they realize you're an honorable person. So those are keys to success.
I love that. Okay, what is one piece of advice for other business owners?
Um, be a person of integrity, operate from character, be clear on your vision and your value offering. What are you offering to the world that is valuable, that makes the world a better place, that they're willing to pay for? The reason they're willing to pay for it is because it has value. Be clear about what that is. Be customer centric. Don't make it about you. If you start acting about this is good for my business and oh well, the customer comes in second, you're gonna either fail or you're gonna create a toxic culture that smart customers will avoid, like the plague. If you create a good value offering, a good system, you hire good people, and you focus on the customer, Amazon, huge. You can criticize a lot of things, but one thing they're really good at is they focus on the customer experience. Is the customer having a good experience? Do they get what they want? They get what they paid for? Do they get a good value for the money? If they pay $100, do they get $200 worth of value? They're always thinking about the customer, and that's where you come from in any business.
Yeah, because my cousin, he actually had an Amazon package. It said it was delivered, but then it wasn't. And then he got in contact with them and they resent it. And then come to find out the package still got delivered. Like the original package still got delivered somehow. I don't know if it got delivered to the wrong door or something like that. But
It's just a
yeah, I'm like,
mistake.
Amazon cares. Amazon really cares.
Well, they're on it, and that's what I mean, and that's why they keep winning everyone's business. I mean, several
Yeah,
times I remember I ordered two things, this big thing and a little thing, and they apparently put it in the same box. I got the box. I opened it up. The big thing was there, but the little thing wasn't. But I got charged for it. So
right.
I called them up and I said, hey, it wasn't, they didn't give me a hard time. They didn't say, well, you're just making that up or whatever. They were like, which day was it, sir? Do you have the order number? And then within a minute I had a refund and I had they reordered the proper package and I got it the next day. So that's
Yeah,
the kind of behavior they're focusing on the customer having a satisfying experience, if not delighting them. You know, I buy something because I want it for some reason. I have a problem to solve or a pain to ease or some pleasure it's going to give me. Those are the big motivators. It's going to help my overall vision and lifestyle. There's a desire in there. And if you can satisfy that desire, that need quickly, efficiently, painlessly, without friction, you have a really good business.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so before we get to the final question of the day, could you please share with our audience how they can follow you and connect with you more?
Oh, thank you. That's easy. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm Nery, Nery Gomez, uh, founder, president, and COO of Black Sun Private Equity Inc. So you can see, you'll just type that in and you'll see me. Incredibly, I'm not the only Nery Gomez. There's actually a bunch out there. But yeah, there's only one that's with Black Sun. And, I look like this, only I'm wearing a jacket, and, you know, I, well, I took a shower today, but yeah, you know what I mean? I clean up good. So, so that's me. If you go to our website, blacksun.pe, it's really cool and it's short and doesn't overwhelm you with stuff you don't want to know. We get to the point, our team or whatever. You can send an email, you can send, there's a phone number there that you can contact. And I'm very responsive to my messages. I don't always respond immediately because I get so many. But, if you have a legitimate question or you want to submit an opportunity or maybe work for us, whatever the case may be, please reach out and, we'll respond, um, you know, professionally and eventually.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for that. Okay. So, our final question of the day is What is most inspiring to you today?
The most inspiring thing for me today is the community in Austin, the spiritual, entrepreneurial, founder, investor community is thriving and it's growing every day. We're drawing people and connections from all over the country, all over the world. I literally been in events in the last 2 weeks where I'm meeting fantastic people from London and Europe and Switzerland and Africa. And these are fantastic, South America, fantastic people that have so much to offer in terms of themselves, their history, their connections, their businesses, and they have high value missions. And the cool thing about high value missions is that they're all up here, but they all connect because we're all in the same space, and
Hmm.
it serves the below. You're not up in the sky, elite, kind of in your White Castle, and in reality's down here. Not at all. If it's true, if it's real, you're here in reality and you're connecting all the way to the ground and everybody benefits. So that excites the hell out of me because I'm a leader in
Yeah,
the center of a lot of that and people are really good to me. And it
yeah,
just inspires me to be generous to them and give of my time and attention.
I love that. Well, this has been a very interesting and great conversation. I really enjoyed hearing your story. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for sharing.
Yeah. My pleasure. And thank you for giving me the forum to share.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But also, I encourage all of you who are watching to save and share this show because you can come back and watch it again later because Neri really did have some great insights for business. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so that you can get notifications every time a new conversation drops, just like this one. Thank you to everyone who joined us today, and a special thank you to you, Neri. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jada. I really appreciate you. I love your spirit. You're very kind.
Thank you.